Walking uphill against the wind in the stormy weather, the summit may seem a mirage. Windy and complex it is, facing the obstacles, making a virtue of a necessity. Difficult to understand, difficult to travel, difficult to maintain in the correct spirit. Radiating it with positivity, making that path that began and that was lost remain a beginning. Only one thought in our mind, enlightenment.
Noise, a pulsation translated by the human being, by one's brain. A noise that can be translated, simple thoughts and superior thoughts. It measures our intellect. Stimuli which combine into superior thoughts generate a rustle in the head, similar to a radio or television interference, alternating energy pulsing, but white in color, as it is positive. Thoughts that fill the brain to infinity, well distinct from each other, each one with its own unique thought transmission. Stimuli and thoughts which to be codified pass through the auditory association area. This area will be subject to the translation or interpretation of the noise produced by these two. Simple thoughts that are not particularly relevant, slightly influence the intellect, and superior thoughts from the union of positive or negative thoughts by the thought response to the stimuli. Simple energy that followed by a response, or let's say combined with a reasoning thought, generates the life of a superior thought. It takes a question and an answer to give origin to these energies unless obtained from the external. The more you question yourself, the more you produce them, the more you become intelligent. Retention is the storage process of energies in the brain from simple and superior thoughts. To develop and preserve these energies, a continuous stimulation of them, a stimulation sufficient for their maintenance, is necessary. Both primary and secondary association areas are involved in the coding. Primary for the external stimuli, secondary for the internal. In the case of retention, what is interpreted by the secondary cortex is the rustling from the pulsation of these energies. Coding is the process of information by the brain from each stimulus that reaches it. Retention, storage of thought energies. Superior thoughts that could be generated by a sound heard, a stimulus, energy, or a question and an answer given by us, which creates the superior thoughts. In case the answer is given to us by another subject, we lose the opportunity to preserve this energy and which are observed by him or her, which in fact will make us smarter. The stimulus serves to give more energy to the creation of superior thoughts. In any case, question and answer generate them. Stimuli which are sounds captured from the external and that become superior thoughts once combined with our answers that we unconsciously or consciously give. That continuous rustling that we hear silently helps our thinking. In the case of stimuli coming from the outside, we're always talking about the energy aspect, sounds, the sight, taste, the sense of touch. From the moment our brain processes the information, from the moment we sense something, we attract it to our mind, which codifies it and gives a response to this stimuli. This is how a superior thought is created, from a simple thought to an answer given, by replying with a thought to the stimulus, by questioning. Even if you don't realize you're doing it, your mind has questions and answers them. With a positive or negative thought, we store this superior thought in the brain. Perception are also part of the coding of this stimuli.
Whoever thinks well and does not do as well talk twice.
Lovable feature, a travel between worlds made up of an energetic smoke, the thought, a cognitive process, tool within which the ability of a subject to organize his own inspiration is established. Thought is the tool with which to express our desires, collective imagination or elevation of the mind, to indulge oneself capable of realizing one's animistic manifestations. Human beings have the ability to wander abstractly in worlds of more abstruse and complex thoughts, to be enraptured by it, to reach a thoughtful elevation that makes him alienated. It is, and we stress this assertion, an amazing tool for controlling our lives, distinguishing it from conscious and unconscious. It is essential to orient ourselves as thinking subjects towards the thought of goodness, since on the base of our thoughts and our reasoning, everything moves. The energy that surrounds us follows our harmony. Thought is the path you set for yourself. A thought intense and therefore lively, like storms crashing upon a ship in the heart of the seas, or calm like the breeze that moves through the valleys in bloom. The process of thinking occurs. In unconscious thinking, it is important to have key elements in mind: positivity and good values, peace. By not focusing on the thought unconsciously, thought becomes light, subtle. Thought is fluid and alienates us from the environment, from the rest of what's surrounding. Unconscious thought instead, when used, that is by assuming an awareness with a listening to our thought, a piloting of our thought is necessary. In conscious thought, the subject moves in order of his behavior. In conscious thought, the subject organizes and plans his thoughts. The mind jumps from level to level until it reaches the amen. Some thoughts more than others activate a more or less demanding physiological process. Love is one of the most demanding thoughts, while other thoughts do not. Therefore, thoughts for their own purpose in reasoning, but also thoughts aim at making one's aspirations come true. If there were a way to be able to maneuver this orbital and see one's wishes come true, I wouldn't know what to think anymore. Well, of course, the way to make them all realize is there, but has obstacles. Obstacles made up of impossibilities of the mind to push us forward to reach that aspiration. No credibility in our abilities, but to see progress in our aspirations will always be there. One way to be followed in order to realize our aspirations is illuminance. Two tools are necessary. Irrepressibly, we possess them both, well placed in our mind. Thought and aspiration. Thought to orient us towards the goal. Aspiration to long for what we are most passionate about. What is important is to behave following the time required by the illuminance. Conscious in thought, unconscious in the fluidity in which we carry out the activities that lead us towards the achievement of our aspiration. It is precisely thoughts that influence memory and intelligence, especially those that are more suited to positivity, the superior thoughts, those with a logical thread of thought in terms of what's good, constructive, to carry out constructive, sensible gestures according to the continuation of the society, to industriousness, to logical reasoning, generate more of these energies. Thoughts that produce thoughts like a multiplier of the right amount for a perfect balanced reasoning, too many for a return to the absence of codification, not confusion, but excess of stimulus that brings an almost unique rustling and no longer alternating, no longer a pulsation but a unique noise, resulting in a loss of inventiveness. The principle is that of a balanced thought, a balance that leads the brain to give and take energies without constraints, natural. A dispersion of these energies, the superior thoughts, might be the cause behind many mental illnesses for which subjects are unable to retain memory and have deficits in thinking. Retention will help them preserve memory and intelligence. Natural solutions to retain superior thoughts are writing, not looking back on previous thoughts when trying to remember, a rustling, reading and zero disturbance from the environment and nothing less than a continuous mental activity. Not looking back on previous thoughts when trying to remember is important because looking at previous past thoughts, energies could be consumed or lost if they do not receive a response. This will give us a temporary memory loss. That response is the memory that comes to mind, which if does not arrive, leads to a loss of energy, memory.